Hey guys, Jroad here with License Plate Jacket Radio, and I was going to review Home, but there was a little problem at the movie theater where they had some technical difficulties. They refunded me and gave me a free movie, so you know what? I'm gonna chalk this one up as a win, especially because that's two movies that are free, and I can use this free pass to see Home tomorrow. But let's see. So instead, since they weren't showing Home in a different theater, I went and saw It Follows, and I have to say, I was actually really intrigued. I remember seeing the ad for this a while ago and thinking, "Wow, that looks like such like an exploitive movie," and it definitely. I was thinking it was going to be a crappy, like one of those Insidious Paranormal Activities, which not a huge fan of those style movies. Not to say that they don't have merit, but I just, they're very derivative. I'll give Paranormal Activity, like, it kind of had that thing, the first few, but then I just kept making them, and they were awful. But, meh. It's kind of it's not my preferred style. See, like if I but this wasn't like that. It wasn't like those crappy haunting, those ghosty type things. Because this wasn't a ghost, it wasn't a monster, it was never really explained what it was, which I love, okay? When a movie doesn't tell you what its monster is or what its motivation is, I find that fascinating, especially this movie, which, like, it seemed to thrive off of sexual activity, and it was like a disease, and then it kills the next person. Okay. Before I get ahead of myself, there was a lot of symbolism and, like, sexual stuff in the movie, which I'm not gonna, like, say I haven't seen other movies, but it was pretty well cleverly done. I think my favorite, like there was clearly symbolism all over the place, but was the girl's room at the beginning of the movie before she goes on her date and she's gonna go have consensual sex, yada yada yada. There's this lampshades, and I know probably people have them, but I don't know if it was just intended or not. They look like vaginas. like they're the flowery ones, but they were pink, and I had similar ones. It's that lamp that's got the bunch of heads that come off of it, and then it's usually got like a couple of cones around it. If you know I'm sure IKEA has them or something. If you know what I'm talking about, just put whatever name they are. But these ones were like the flower ones, which I've seen in other people's dorms and stuff, and they were clearly very yeah, they look like vaginas. I'm not gonna BS but it looks like they're bright and colorful, and then hopeful, and she's in her nice pink dress ready to go out and go on a date with this guy going to the theater. It seemed like it is pretty clear. Oh, it's innocent, she's young, she's gonna go make love, this kind of sweetie crap. Then later on, after she gets the following sickness, I can't explain. They're in the room, but they're off, and they just kind of look off-putting and like undesirable. I just there's this feeling, this aura in the movie. Whoever directed this got this kind of really well shot. There's also a lot of shots that I thought were weird, and times they slowed down that were kind of weird. But all in all, it definitely was a really good put together movie. Alright, now here is where I'm going to put a spoiler alert, because that was just generic information. This is where I will break down the plot. So if you have not seen this movie, see it first and make your own judgments, but here's what's going to happen. It starts out with this girl, she meets this guy, well, she doesn't meet this guy, but she's going on a date with this guy, she's talking to her sisters and her neighborhood friend that they've been friends together, forever. And it's just kind of this awkward, date, and then all of a sudden he sees the thing is they never name it. It just follows, and it can only be transferred from someone once they've had sex with someone else. But then if it gets that person, it will kill the person that had sex with it. So basically, you have to bone someone, and then they have to bone someone, and then they have to bone someone for you to be safe. You're probably never going to be safe, and you always got to be on guard for it. But it can only walk, which I thought was kind of a weird thing. My thing was, why didn't anyone ever, just go out and live on a boat for the rest of their lives, or move to a different continent? Thoughts I had, but that's neither here nor there. And it was definitely creepy. It was they the way they made it, because it wasn't a ghost. I thought this was going to be one of those ghost movies. It was corporeal. Well, anyways, this girl, she meets the guy, then basically he chloroforms her, and like after they have sex, he chloroforms her so that she can see it, and then he wheelchairs her out so that he gives her advice. He tells her that it can only be transferred and that she has to sleep with someone. Well, then her friends don't believe her, and then there's something that breaks into her house, and physically it breaks into her house, so it is corporeal. While it is not visible, it is corporeal. So her and her friends, they get in their car, and then they go with this dude, and they take off to this guy's cabin. It's set in Detroit, but they never specifically say it. They talk. You can see everywhere it's got Michigan license plates, but I thought it was kind of a homely town, Michigan. And then later on, they say they can never go past 8 Mile, and if you've ever been to Detroit, you know where that is, and it's a pretty infamous place. And anyways, she's got this guy. There's the guy, there's the two sisters, and there's the girl. That's the initial movie. Then there's a neighborhood guy named Greg, which it's the girl's name is Jay. I can't remember Paul, Jay, Greg. I can't remember the sisters' names right now, but basically, Jay is the girl. She's a very pretty girl. She gets this thing, and then it starts to follow her. She gets freaked out. They try to shoot it, and there's this scene where the thing can take the shape of other people. So it takes the shape of her sister, and it just looks like her sister's walking up on her, and then all of a sudden it pans over, and you see her sister in the lake when they're at Greg's cabin, and he's teaching her how to shoot a gun, and all of a sudden it grabs her hair, and Paul whacks it with his chair, and basically it just backhands him about 20 feet, which I was like, damn! So this thing is physical. It's not just some ethereal bullshit. This is a physical entity, but it's not explained what it is. My best theory is it's kind of a succubus, maybe. I don't know. Succubus, incubus. But basically, it kills people. The opening of the movie is it killing this other girl that's not related, but it's never explained how she contracted or what went on. And then, basically, lots of other crazy crap happens, and there's a lot of just little things. Then later on, she sleeps with Greg, who's kind of just this man whore anyway, and this movie makes this sexual tension really unfreaking comfortable. It is just it makes you feel dirty, and for a movie to do that, it makes you feel kind of unclean to think, oh, you're using them, because you are, to save your own life. And there's just a couple scenes where they're never really explained. There's these implications, but they never say whether or not what happens. Anyways, so she sleeps with Greg, and then a few days go by, it kills Greg, and then she sees it break into Greg's house, so she runs over there to tell him, don't open the door. He opens the door, the thing starts screwing him and draining the life out of him. It jumps on him and starts viciously kind of fucking him, and then drains the life out of him. I was like, that is creepy. Then she hops in the car, drives away. Then later on, she's seen kind of by a lake and in the middle of nowhere, and she sees 3 guys on a boat, and she starts getting undressed, and then it cutscenes. Doesn't explain what happens, doesn't say she slept with them, but that's kind of the feel you get from it, And I don't know. Um, so yeah, it kills Greg. So she goes and kind of maybe does these other guys. I think it's implied, but I don't know. Like I said, it there's these things that are implied that you don't really know. Then her and her friends try to kill it in the swimming pool and electrocute it, and they shoot it in the head. Like, it won't go in the pool, so it starts trying to beat her out, like kill her, so that she can come out of the pool. For some reason, it wouldn't get in the pool, so it was like it didn't know how to swim, which I don't know whether or not that's true. But like, and then it grabs her in the water, and Paul shoots it through the head, which that is BS because a bullet would not penetrate the water like that. There's a whole Mythbusters thing. You can see it. If a gun is shot underwater, theoretically that would happen, but it wouldn't be. The impact on the water actually changes the trajectory of a bullet. Look that up. I'm not BSing you. This was something that was tested. Um, but no, he shoots it in the head, and then they can't. Like, she's the only one that can see it. She crawls up to the side of the pool, and it's just this blood bubbling up, and they basically were trying to electrocute it, but it did that. I don't know if they did or not. And then her sister, the compact phone thing, I thought was kind of cool, but I don't know if that thing is real. I want one. I think that was cool, but that's neither here nor there. All right. And then she sleeps with Paul because there's kind of like this whole sexual frustration between her and Paul throughout the movie, and yeah, okay. And then it kind of felt like it was talking about age or something that follows you for the rest of your life, like a death sentence that follows you for the rest of your life. That you get. That's what I took away from it. I don't know if that's what the intention of the movie was, but that's what I like. That's what I thought initially. You know, I just saw it in the theaters, and like it was just sexually uncomfortable. Like so much, just so much. But all in all, I think it was a. And then at the end of the movie, it kind of, after they do it, you don't see, you see someone walking behind him. You don't know if it's that or it's just a person or not. But it's kind of just like really implied. There's also a scene where Paul drives by two hookers, and you don't know, did he give it off to them so that they would give it off to some John? Because it was on, like, after she sleeps with him, did he go sleep with a hooker so that she would just keep passing it on to guys and let them die? Did it? Did it not? It just, it was really one of those uncomfortable, what would you do kind of things. There were scenes that I think they don't say anything. There's very little, like, there's a lot of dialogue, but there's not very much dialogue. I can't explain how, like, nothing of, it was just kind of, all in all, I think this was a fairly decent movie. It had a really good tone, it had a really good idea. The monster, you don't know what it is. It definitely had great little nods to just other horror films, and just the old TVs. Wherever they got all, Detroit just seems really weird because it's got a bunch of these old tube TVs that I love. I'm a retro junkie. I love old timey things. I mean, I've got like these old paintings and stuff at my place, and I just love kind of junky, like, records and tube TVs. That's kind of my thing, like that, and just boom boxes, and it just kind of was littered with this detritus of randomness. And this movie was definitely something that felt very random, but also it just creeped you out. And what I thought was funny was, after seeing it, I was kind of watching some of the people that were leaving, and they're like looking over their shoulders, and I was just thinking, they're gonna, like, that's a good job of a horror film, or a thriller, suspense / horror. I don't know. This movie had that Hitchcockian, make you look over your shoulder, paranoid that something, that it's following you, and yeah. Again, I think this was like an allegory for AIDS or an STD, because it follows people and it kills them. I mean, after they had sex with someone. So, am I putting that on there? I don't know. I mean, there's a great argument that Doug Walker once made about what a movie was meant to say and what a movie is perceived to say. and it's kind of like one of those things that, it's your intuition versus it's sometimes if you get a message out of a movie that you're not supposed to, like if you get a message out of a movie that isn't there but it means something personal to you, then go with it. The director may not have meant it, but if it's something that you like, if you got a positive message out of something, then run with it. This movie, I don't know what it was trying to say, but it definitely was. It was like it wasn't trying to say anything, but it was definitely not one of those cheesy crap movies. It was pretty well shot. It made it definitely feel like a Holmesy anytime kind of area. I've been to Detroit. It's definitely got that kind of feel, but it also they go up to a cabin up north, which would probably be in Wisconsin or someplace. It got that Bayside feel, it's just that Midwest feel, which I enjoyed. Okay, finally my rating for the movie. I'm not gonna say this is an excellent piece of work. It's a fairly good piece of work. It's definitely one that makes you think. It definitely makes you feel. It does give you a creepy vibe. It's kind of got this impending doom. It's got a certain kind of Hitchcockiness. I can't explain that, but it does. So I'll give this an 8.7 on the rotor scale. It's a decent flick. If you want a good horror movie, a pop, it's not like a good. This would be one of those movies you cuddle up. Well, I wouldn't say cuddle up with your girlfriend because this isn't gonna be. You're not gonna want to do it after this movie. It's just there's very uncomfortable scenes, especially the chloroforming scene. Like this isn't girlfriend horror film like Evil Dead or well, Evil Dead, that one's debatable too, but like a Friday the 13th type film, or even just one of those kind of creepy your girlfriend grabbing you close thing, or just this is a I want to kind of think about a horror film, but also at the same time be entertained by it. So yeah, 8.7. This has been Jroad. It follows. I had a lot to say about this movie apparently because this video is 17 minutes. So peace out. I salute you and stay feisty, my friends.